Hi there, Scott Wilkinson here, the editor of AVSforum.com and host of the Home Theater Geeks podcast. I'm talking with Jack Wetherill, senior marketing analyst at FutureSource, marketing analyst for home electronics, I should say. And you had a very interesting presentation. You started off our panel this morning, our whole thing, with some analysis of the market for audio and video products. You covered both areas there. And I was quite interested to see what was really gaining ground and what was losing ground. Give us a little summary of that.
Well, that's right. I mean, the good news for the audio companies is that wireless speakers are the biggest growth product. I mean, you're looking at about 150% growth last year. Really phenomenal. Not just the US, although the US is the largest market, but around the world, people picking up on, especially on Bluetooth. That's 80% of the market.
80% of the market is Bluetooth speakers. And what we're talking about here are things that you can beam audio from your phone to and so on and so on. Are we also talking about things like Sonos and these other whole home systems?
Yes, indeed. I mean, Sonos doesn't have Bluetooth in it, but that is also a wireless solution. Obviously, that's more kind of a Wi-Fi based technology, but there are many other companies. You've actually touched on a really hot space there, where we've got many brands coming into the multi-room audio based on Wi-Fi. Some of them are bringing in their own technologies, which means that a bit like Sonos, it won't interact with other brands. Others are using DTS, Play-Fi, for example. Qualcomm is another system. So there's a whole lot going on in the multi-room audio space. That's a big growth area. Quite confusing for the consumer at the moment, but that's where it is. So wireless speakers. You're quite right. Also, the fact it's driven by mobile phone users. You know, our research is showing that over half of smartphone owners are actually using their phone for music play out. So that's an awful lot of people. I mean, in the States, you know, that's probably 150 million smartphone owners before you've got any further. Those people are actually using their phones for music. So how are they going to play it out? A lot of them use headphones. We know that's a burgeoning market. A lot of them might use the internal speakers in the phone, but that's not great, is it? So what are they going to do? They're going to buy speakers which they can stream to. It could be an audio system as well. It could be a hi-fi with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. But yeah, so that's really big. And the other big one is soundbars. You know, still globally 50% growth last year. The US is well ahead of the curve when it comes to soundbars, but it's a huge market here too. And people find that it's all about convenience. It's that you can get quality in them as well, but the consumers appreciate the convenience. You know, the single wire into the AV receiver
Instead of a whole bunch of speakers all around the room.
You got it. There's room for those as well for other consumers, but you know, they voted with their feet. They've gone with the soundbar. Yeah.
What about flat panel TVs? Where are they? I think, as I recall, you saying something like the market's pretty saturated already.
You got it. Flat is the word, actually. Flat panel, flat market. Depends. It depends which part of the world you're in. I mean, globally, it's 6% up last year in terms of units. You know, the saturated markets are obviously, Western Europe, North America, etc., where it's a fairly stable kind of market. There are still growth areas, parts of Latin America, Asia Pacific, markets which haven't yet aren't fully penetrated by any means with flat panel, and that will keep the market going. But there are. Go on.
I was going to say, in terms of flat panels, we had a transition to HD, and that was 10 years ago. Now we're transitioning to UHD, 4K, as it's often called. So wouldn't that ramp up the replacement of flat panels to some degree?
To some degree. The difference, though, here is that there was a switch off, wasn't there, from analog signals to digital. That also coincided with the shift from fat CRTs to the thinner sets, and so there was multiple reasons there for people to bring forward their purchase, a renewal, if you like, of their set. There's a carrot and stick. The carrot was, it's thinner, better picture or whatever. The stick was, well, if you don't, it's going to be switched off anyway. I'm talking in the global sense here. It wasn't quite such an issue in the US, perhaps because of pay TV.
And these converter boxes for a while.
You got it. We don't quite have that dynamic yet for 4K. But one day there'll be a new broadcast standard, and what does this mean for us all? Will we have to replace our sets or our boxes, whatever? There's a lot to be worked out there. Quite frankly, an awful lot.
Awful lot, exactly. And that will be the stick, but it's not going to come for a while.
No. Well, I chaired a panel only 2 weeks ago in London, which had the BBC, Sky, and the Digital Television Group all sitting on the panel. And when it came to, look, when are these standards going to be sorted, it was all a case of, well, working really hard on it. There are a number of things to talk about here, frame rates, etc. It's obviously very difficult, but we do need some kind of solidarity, some kind of fixed point at which we can say, aha, this is where it's going. Yeah.
Well, the future is always interesting, and I look forward to hearing more about how you prognosticate.
Well, absolutely. That's right. The crystal ball stays as clear as ever.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot.